Hey, what is up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris, and this is the forest in the summertime. It's been a little while since I've made a video. I haven't actually pressed record on a camera in probably 3 months. Yeah, I know it sounds strange for someone who does YouTube, but I do. This is my me time. Chris X is like where I do what I want to do and share it with people. So it's not like I've been doing anything. I've been doing a lot of stuff, my normal stuff, but this, I took a little break from it, you know, and maybe we could talk about it a little bit in this video. Nothing, nothing like crazy. It's just, you know, going week after week, yeah. So I'm back out in the forest. I'm actually gonna cook a little bit of something very simple today. Actually, I'm not cooking, I'm heating up because prices at the grocery store are pretty expensive. So I thought I would come out on a real good budget, eat something I haven't eaten for years. I think it's been, unless I've cooked it up here, you know, within the last few years, it could have been a long time since I've eaten this. But we've gotten a very interesting summer here between the heat and the rain almost every day at my house. And what it's done is, I'll show you, it's created a very green summer. It's beautiful. I mean, everything is green. We've had sun and some pretty high temps for up here in the mountains, but I would consider it, I guess as far as rainfall goes, it's not like the greatest, but I consider it good when it rains a little bit every day. Oh, I got a wild turkey. I don't know if this little camera caught it, but there was a wild turkey running straight down the road and he took off up there. It's funny because usually every time I see those out here, they're in, I don't know what you call them, packs, flocks, groups of like 10, 12. I guess we're coming up on toward the end of the year, Thanksgiving. Maybe their heads on a swivel, they're on the lookout, making sure no one's out here with shotguns or something. Anyway, I'm driving in right now, nice little area. I'm gonna get to a spot, get set up. We can talk a little bit about what's going on, what's been going on. I mean, it's just standard thing. If you guys know me, if you watch my videos before, I'm a big fan of winter, of fall, late fall, early spring, and winter, because it really keeps people at home. You know, they're not out there camping, they're not out there off-roading, or, you know, doing day trips and cooking, and that's a lot more fun for me. Plus, I love the snow when it hits, so it's pretty active time for wildlife: bears, mountain lions, bobcats, javelina, turkeys, deer. You gotta just be mindful of that this time of year. Everyone's on the move, right? Everyone's on the move, especially with the amount of water that we have. So there's plenty of, you know, not necessarily streams, but pools of water for that. And yeah, the wildlife seems to be really active, and it always is this time of year. And so you just got to keep your eye out, make sure that a bear doesn't want to come over and join you for lunch, if you know what I'm saying. So I got my I swear, all this stuff, I haven't opened my kitchen bags in 3 months. I haven't, you know, got out my stove. turned on the cameras, none of that stuff. Everything just went into idle mode while I took I don't know, I wouldn't even call it necessarily like a break from anything. Summertime is so whack. I've been spending a lot of time out in the desert, actually, doing some target shooting, stuff like that. I've been going out probably twice a week, minimum once a week, sometimes twice a week. This year, because of the good amount of rain and monsoon, they did do a fire ban temporarily. I think it lasted, let's just say a month. It seemed like way less than that, because in the past it's lasted a lot longer. You could go almost the whole summer, so a fire ban out here, no campfire, none of that stuff, no shooting. They include that in because of I don't know, I guess ricochets. I don't know. We're under a class 2 for longer, which is no campfires, but class 1, where it includes no shooting, was only lasted maybe 3 weeks. They really go out of their way here too to make sure like what the law is. There's areas to get out into the desert, in certain area, another desert, up into the mountains and here, and those entry roads, they'll put, the big kind of DOT signs saying no shooting allowed, right? I appreciate that, because there's a lot of people that don't really pay attention to anything, and they just go out and they could cause, some problems. So I appreciate the effort. I know that some people are saying, oh, we shouldn't have to like ultimate freedom. We shouldn't have to obey any rules, but nobody wants to start a forest fire or burn something down, right, that destroys an area for decades. So I think it's pretty cool, because even me, you get hung up in daily life, and you're going out, and it's been maybe a couple months. There's a giant sign there saying, hey, we're in the middle of a class 1 fire ban. Like, oh man, I didn't even think about that. So it's pretty cool. So today's magic food of the day is going to be this Dinty Moore beef stew, the big can. I used to eat this a lot when I'd go out to the sand dunes. Just take a can like this for the weekend, a couple cases of beer, and you'd be good to go. So that's what steak and everything, the price at the grocery store are pretty high right now. I was craving, if you were with me yesterday on the gaming live stream, talked about how I was craving baked beans. But this morning I'm like, I'll just take out some beef stew, because with this you get meat, potato, carrots, gravy, all the stuff all in one can. And this thing has been actually in here for a while. And I looked at it this morning, and it looks like it expires in, Best Buy in a few days. 10/27/24, within a month. So it's creme brulee. I don't even know why I have this. I don't usually get like these types of things. It's always meals, but I'll try and make this today too. I don't know if it requires hot water, cold water, water, but I got plenty of water. I brought my big jug today. In the summertime, I can hear, voices carry in these quiet ears. I can hear voices up and over this, somewhere over that direction. I can see a lot of movement too, like birds. When you're out here, your senses are all, not really that it's hyper focused. It's just that there's no city sounds or road sounds or people sounds, to where all your senses are kind of in harmony, right? And one little bird movement, one little flap of the wing, or one little visual change. It's amazing how the human, hearing, vision, and everything is very, very like super sensitive in a situation like this. It's pretty cool. Like I just caught like not a hummingbird, but like a moth just flying over there. It's pretty neat. You should see the amount of pine cones out here. They are literally everywhere. Like every step. Look at them all right here. Just so many pine cones. You look down toward the little creek. You see how it's all like white there, like whitewashed? Weird. The amount of water is like right there and right there. It's like hard to see from up here, but the creek runs down there and it's exposed like that white talc, whatever that is. So it's been zooming through here pretty good. Pretty good. You got to watch your footing with the pine cones. They're everywhere. I mean, you got to be careful. This is dangerous here with how dry, all the pine needles are, the pine cones, everything. Even though, look, yesterday, yesterday at like, I got to keep stirring this. This thing is really, hold on. This thing really, I have it on the lowest temp I can have it. It's this really thin titanium pot. It just passes the heat on so fast. But this is the kind of stuff you want to heat up pretty good. You don't want to get like a cold something in there. And the gravy is actually pretty good. From what I remember, like I said, it's been a bit. And I got this about as low as I've ever had it. Because there's not a breath of wind. There's not a breath of wind, which is really good. That you can run that thing lower. Whew, the flame. Anyway, what was I saying? I don't remember. So, as long as I've kind of been away, I kind of took a break from the mountain forest. I got reinvigorated with the desert. And honestly, the summertime, when I say I'm not about doing this stuff in the summer, it's not the heat, because when the summertime comes, I actually like getting out into the desert, the high desert area, where up here it's a little bit cooler, but you still have like, the horse flies and all that stuff. And then when we have this much water up here, we do get some sort of, I don't know, something that bites you like a mosquito. I don't know if they're mosquitoes or not, but there's something that bites you pretty good. And it sticks with you for a while. Like it'll kind of, I don't know if you can see these up here on my shoulder. Those have been there for 2 months. I don't know what it is about their saliva, their venom, but I've got 2 on that shoulder and I've got 1 on my ankle that a mark has been there for months. A few years ago, I remember I was out, I had 1 fly. It's always like 1 giant horse fly flying around, and he bit my ankle. And there was a mark there for like a year. And then it just went away. I don't know what they got going out here, but it's weird. Or maybe it's me, that stays marked up like that. But so what I was saying was I do like to get out to the desert. You do a little off-roading to get back to your range spot. It depends. I've got multiples. I've got some for up close if I'm just kind of doing pistol or SMG. I got some medium range ones. I got some longer range ones that if I'm zeroing, I need like 100, 300. If I'm just zeroing an optic, usually with a red dot, it doesn't really matter. I do those middle areas, but it's pretty cool. It's pretty fun. You get to off-road back in there. You do a little shooting. You kind of bring maybe a sandwich. I'm not doing any cooking, even though I did do some cooking out there. That might have been my last video, actually. I don't really recall. But, that thing is it's boiling. It's boiling like crazy. I'm going to turn it off, let it sit in its own juice, and see if it'll warm everything through. Actually looking forward to this. I was looking, and I was in the pantry this morning. I was looking, I'm like, chili? And she said, no, you wanted that beef stew, take the beef stew. And it's the big can. It's almost like I had to make sure it was going to fit in here. So I took the can and I set it inside. And if the can fits inside, then it's going to fit. So yeah, heat it up pretty good. I got to let it let it rest for a little bit. Man, it's so awesome. Like I said, the wildlife you can hear everywhere. Just sit, well, there's a kind of a plane way up there right now, but sitting back, hearing the birds, squirrels, rabbits, like this is a very, very active area. There's an area not far back when I was coming up this draw right here. Every time I go through there, every single time I see deer. I think there's a really good, there's kind of a steep side hill slope coming off where you drive. Down at the bottom, I think there's a rocky creek. Well, I know there's a rocky creek. I think it always has water, and that's where I always see them kind of coming up from that water area. It's pretty cool. If you're wondering what I do for, like I said, make sure that you're covered with all the wildlife that's going on out here, this is what I got. This is one of my, this Glock 47. Surefire light, and I got the extended mag on here, and I've got some plus P Full Metal Jacket rounds. They are super powerful. They're in these unmarked white boxes, right? All they say is 9mm plus P plus, and there's a date on them, 93. Yeah, I bought them surplus years ago when like ammo prices were all whack. So my buddy, I'm like, you have anything in the back that either you're not looking to sell or no one would really buy? So he got me this case of these things, and I let them sit for a few years until I tried them. And wow, you know what I did is I take like a Tula steel jacket, it's just kind of weak sauce, Full Metal Jacket. Fill a mag up with that. Fill a mag up with like S&B brass, which is what I normally have. You got 115, 124, 147 stuff. But so I do that, then the S&B, and then I loaded up a mag full of these no-namers. And so you shoot the Tula, it's like, okay. You shoot the S&B and it feels normal. Then these things, it's like, wow. Like there is a definitive difference that you could feel. Let's try this. I'm going to keep it in here. So the key to doing all this stuff outdoors is no dishes ever. No dishes. You know what's so great about these? Like the potatoes, they're like perfectly cooked. Everything is. But the problem is the only way to achieve this in a can is preservatives out the yin yang, and that's really bad. Like preservatives are like, you don't even know. They don't tell us, right? And you think that they should have to tell us how you make preservatives. They're literally like chemicals that you couldn't touch on your skin. I think I told the story before where it was in LA in one of the industrial districts. We were working for this place because we did, flow measurements. So if you needed to blend something together, like a batch, whether it be food or whatever, we did soft gel. We worked for a place, actually it was called Soft Gel. They did pills, like, vitamin D, whatever. But in order to blend that together, the juice that goes in the pill, you got to run it through machines that will say, all right, I need a certain percentage of this versus a certain percent, the recipe of the blend. And then they could go into a giant stainless steel mixing tank. Once it gets mixed up, then that goes in and actually fills whatever, a can, a pill, even as big as those, those big plastic, where people like store water in, like they on a pallet. This is what we were filling up this preservative place with. And now this preservative place, they made preservatives for tortillas, like for like Mission tortilla and stuff. That gravy is super good. And in there we had to wear like, rubber over gloves, thick rubber boots, because there was like hydrochloric acid. There was a few different acids in there and stuff that we were putting in the measuring devices to blend this stuff together to make this preservative. You hear what I just said? Acid, hydrochloric acid, stuff in there in its single source that you couldn't get on you or it would like eat you. It would just eat you up. So it's pretty weird. That's one of the major things you want to watch out for is preservatives. I did go on a little adventure mission since the last video. I decided to, cut out the soda and sugars. I was getting still overweight, but I was getting up there where it was like starting to affect me physically. I would try and do some of the things and my back would start to hurt a little bit, or sleeping, So my number one thing, I cut out sugars, the sodas. I did do some fasting for a little bit. I'm kind of back in regular mode other than the sugars. I had a big pizza yesterday, big sandwich 2 days ago, like a submarine, a good, what was it? Jimmy John's. And so I'm eating, but I'm watching the sugars and stuff. So I've kind of plateaued. I dropped about 25 pounds, kind of plateaued. I've been here for a couple of weeks, around the 240 mark. I'm looking to get, healthy. I like to try and get down in the 220s, but I feel like, I'm going to start doing some exercise and some working out. I got to strengthen my core back up in my back, because I feel like I've let it go a little bit, and that extra weight was, it was playing games with me. So that's where I'm at with that. That's what I've been doing too. So I didn't want to get out and want to cook all these fabulous things and, be the fasting thing. I actually think I fasted for 4 days. That was my longest fast ever, 3 or 4 days. Pretty wild. That white spot I was showing you down there on the side, there's a big squirrel jumping across it. Like I said, you just look around, your eyes pick up on everything. But anyway, as far as I built a 300 blackout just recently. I love it. There was a Labor Day sale right now. So I picked up a small Scout flashlight for it. I picked up a small kind of hand stop and something else. I think whatever. It's suppressed. It's really small. It's super lightweight. And that build was specifically to bring with me out here like this. Camping, all that, because I don't want something. I'd brought my Mark 18 before, whatever. It's like, so bad. You got to be like in battle mode to want to hump that thing around. It's awesome, but it's also super heavy. And for out here, 300 blackout, like running 120, 122 grains. I got some crazy Sig Sauer, these feral pig hunters. Dude, that thing's going to put anything down. Like, it's wicked. Even the bullet, you just look at it like, whoa, that's crazy. But out here with this 9mm, there's nothing out here that I can't put down within, a certain range with this, or at least scare off. The 300 blackout gives you obviously more stopping power, but it gives you a little bit of range, standoff range if something is crazy. Because, I say this and people are like, listen, I have videos of a bear stalking me, my buddy Niels and I, on a camping one night, and then we had a mountain lion circling our camp the 2 nights later. It is what it is. It's nature. I've been out here all my life, so I don't need anybody to tell me if I'm doing something right or wrong with this. It's like, this is the way I do it, and if you do it a different way, good on you. But you just you don't want to be left begging, please don't kill me. 2 miles that way, last year, a guy was building a retired guy. I told this story before, but guy in his 70s, I think, he was building an off-grid cabin. Just building a cabin, little tiny one. Bear came up, boom. Mauled him, drug him down the mountain, killed him. So, yeah. There are traditional stereotypes of things like, black bears are more scared of humans, they'll just run away. True. It's a true story. It's a true story. But there are times that doesn't happen like that. And it was just last year, and it was just 2 miles from here. So They did finally hunt the bear down and they killed him, right? That could be from a number of things. There is a a very small, I say community. You know, there's places up there, off-grid cabins, and either they were feeding the bears or they were not covering up their trash, not dealing with their food correctly. And so the bear felt comfortable enough to come right up to where people were, cabin. And there was a guy there. Who's to say that the bear didn't get scared or was caught between, like, felt like it was caught in a corner and attacked? I don't know. But you that's the point. You never know. You got to be prepared to defend yourself at all times. There's something big coming up. I'm gonna turn you around. I saw it over here, going that way. What the heck was that thing? Oh my God, it's a squirrel. So it's gonna be to the right of that tree. It's got this super bright tail. Remember what I was saying about how your eyes just pick up on things? I picked up on a flash of white. It was that squirrel, probably the same squirrel that was down there. I'm just like, I thought it could have been a coyote. We have a lot of coyotes out here. A lot of coyotes in Javelina. Coyotes, you know, whatever. Mountain lions, I personally think out here the most dangerous stuff is mountain lions and snakes. We have a lot of pit vipers out here. That's why when I'm down in the desert shooting and stuff and doing my thing out there, always looking where you step. Like there's a lot. I just got buzzed by something. Dragonfly or something. This is really good. My little squirrel just caught my eye again. His tail is so white. I wonder if it's white because it was rubbing on that chalky talc stuff down there, if it's just naturally like that, because squirrels here are usually that, you know, traditional gray. I'm not sure. I should have ate that whole can. I'm feeling it. You know, when you kind of, I'm not saying I'm on a diet, but when you kind of change your eating habits, your stomach like theoretically like shrinks. So your eyes and your brain still think, oh, I can eat all that, and you really shouldn't. So this is I don't even remember getting this, but Backpacker's Pantry creme brulee, right? Whoa, almost lost it. Creme brulee, and it has a stamp here, best by 10/27/24. So might as well see what it's all about. Such a rookie, I didn't even bring my pocket knife with me. But I have multiple knives in here. You know, these things that, oh, there's like powder coming out of it. These things that tell you to rip here, they always end up like really messing everything up. Oh wow, it's, okay, so it's powder. Now this is, it smells like cake mix. So this like granulated sugar, there should be a desiccant. So it says, here's the directions. Remove and discard enclosed oxygen absorber before beginning. Remove brulee sugar topping packet and set aside. Add 3/4 cup of cold water to filling mix. Beat it briskly. Beat it briskly with 2 forks for 2 minutes. Sprinkle brulee sugar topping over the top of filling. Let it sit for 10 minutes. Okay, so if you're supposed to mix it in here, how are you supposed to mix it briskly with 2 hands whilst holding this? And how the heck am I supposed to measure out 3/4 cup with this big boy? This, I can see trouble coming from this already. So 3/4 of a cup. 1 cup is almost 1 full of those bottles. That's definitely 3/4 right there. Totally hit the mark. All right, so I'll take my spoon that I kind of wiped off. All right, so I got to beat it briskly. I know, I'm a child. It's creme brulee. I don't even know what it is really, because this is like cake. Smells like cake. Looks like cake. I mean, obviously I've heard of it. A lot of things like that. You go, oh yeah, I know what that is. I mean, I know what the word is, but I don't exactly know what goes into it, like how it's supposed to be. I mean, if you were some kind of pastry chef, you could fool me all day as long as it tasted good. So 2 minutes worth of this malarkey. And then you got to put that sugar in. Oh, my stomach, I'm feeling it. It was really tasty, like tasty in a bad way, like, you know, the greasy spoon or your favorite burger or a nice chili. You know, it's like, oh, the good amount of salt, good amount of flavor. The meat was good. The carrots, the potatoes, the gravy was really good. But, you know, it's bad for you. So when you eat all of it and you eat too much of it, I can feel it right up to about here. And then here I am mixing up a brulee, which it's actually smoothing out pretty good. So I guess maybe whacking it like this is working. Make sure there's no, you know, you get those little bitty dry things that kind of sit up on the bag farther and they fall in on your first bite. All right, I'm going to keep doing this and then let it sit and we'll come back to it. I don't have high hopes for this. It's like, reminds me of like eating cookie dough or, you know, cake batter. But I left it closed for most of the time, and I just opened it up now and put a paper towel on it because I didn't know if it needed some air. It's interesting. It's a familiar smell, like a filling of some kind, or like a custard. It's interesting. I don't know if you'll be able to see, but the sugar in there, it kind of melted. Do you see that? It's like it was definitely rock sugar, and it kind of melted on top. Let's try this. Like I said, I'm not having high hopes. I took a big piece of sugar candy. Try it with not so much. It's like a, why can't I put my finger on this? It's like a custard. It's interesting. The like the consistency and everything right at the top is pretty good. I don't know, man. Maybe if you're out, again, I always like to reference if you're out in some kind of survival and you needed something that wasn't rice and beans. It's interesting. Like somewhere between a pudding and a custard. You know, my stomach was reeling a little bit before. I think if I eat too much of that, it's going to be reeling again. It's pretty sweet. It's pretty sweet, but then again, I haven't been eating sweet stuff lately. Sugar, candy, none of that stuff. None of the good stuff. It's not terrible. It's I think that it's pretty. You can see it's not a huge bag. I think if you shared that with maybe 3 people, so not one person ate too much, I think it'd be all right. Like a little dessert or whatever. I mean, it's definitely not the textbook description of creme brulee, but look, it was. How weird is that though? It's like the only thing that was inside these bags here. I don't carry those foods in these bags. That bag back there, if you can see it, it's like a camo bag. Camel bag, you probably can't see it. That camel bag has like 6 meals in it. And I have one of those bags in both of the vehicles I take out, the GX and this. So I always have a way to the Jetboil, right, for water. I have water in there, little like water bottles, and then I have those meals. It's kind of like a just in case bag. Talked about it before. Maybe you're out planning for just a day trip. Some of my day trips are like 10 hours. You drive up, you go way back into a forest that if something happened back in there, you might need to stay the night before you hoof it out to get to hopefully find reception. Or you might have to stay a couple nights and hope that, you actually hear something. So